Mr. Latta of Ohio.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks very much for our panel for being with us today. It has been a very good panel discussion today. And Dr. Hannigan, if I could, we're not picking on you here now, but my district has the largest number of electric co-ops in the state. And in your testimony, you mentioned that electric cooperatives are naturally consumer-centric because they are member-owned, member-governed, and not-for-profit utilities. Would you discuss the process, and again, we've been kind of going around talking about this in different ways, but would you discuss the process that you use to determine which technologies to deploy to benefit your consumers? And we've heard from Mr. Sanford a little bit earlier, different devices with his testimony with Dr. Murphy, but are your consumers seeking a more active and dynamic role in the energy usage out there?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that question. Cooperatives are very heavily embedded in the communities that they serve. We are at the town parades. We are at the city hall meetings. We are at the local picnics and events. Folks stop by to pay their bill still with a check. Not everybody's paying electronically, and some folks even use that as an opportunity to connect with their neighbors. We have annual meetings and open board meetings where attendance from the community comes in and gives us all sorts of feedback. I and my senior team are also out there with our large customers, our towns, our communities, and even our individual folks that call in for a service outage. So we have no shortage of feedback and input as to what kinds of things our members desire, and I know the same is true for other cooperatives. The challenge is that a lot of times when we hear from them in terms of different demands for things, again, it comes, as I mentioned in the previous question, in the form of reading an article, something in the newspaper, and, well, can we get that here? And I think that's forcing a pace of innovation on America's cooperatives that really needs to be tempered by the local needs of the communities that we serve and their willingness to pay, ability to absorb risk, and that's the challenge of cooperative boards all throughout the country, is to make sure that we strike that balance appropriately.
Ms. Lamb, if I could ask you, in this past Congress, Peter Welch of this committee and I had the Internet of Things working group. But what other potential applications exist for the Internet of Things within the electricity sector, and how would this lead to greater benefits for the consumer?
Well, distributed energy marketplaces that's enabled by the Internet of Things through blockchain will allow customers to choose, based in response to market signals that are generated from that marketplace, allow them to choose the source of their energy and when they use that energy, and to choose how much they are willing to pay for it. So, for example, imagine a community energy marketplace where a neighborhood resident might choose to run their dishwasher or washing machine at a time when the peer-to-peer market has the lowest cost of energy. Or a department store might dial back on air conditioning when a local utility transformer is overloaded because that local market is sending them the accurate price signal, just making the entire local grid function more efficiently.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.
I think